The moment Daniel stepped onto the late-night train, he felt the weight of exhaustion pressing down on him. He had just finished a 13-hour shift, his feet ached, and all he wanted was to get home to his little daughter, Lily. But life rarely gave him what he wanted. And tonight, it was about to give him something entirely different. The train screeched, metal grinding against metal, and as the doors slid open, a wave of cold air rushed in. Daniel stepped inside only to freeze in place. Sitting by the far window was her, the steel-hearted CEO everyone feared, the woman known for firing employees without blinking, the one whose name alone made entire departments tremble. Eve Carter. The youngest tech billionaire. The woman who ruled her company like a storm. And right now, she looked nothing like the rumors. Her arms were wrapped around herself, she was shivering violently, her face pale, her eyes glassy with tears she was desperately trying to hide. Her expensive heels were gone, her hair was messy, and her phone was in pieces on the floor. Daniel hesitated, but compassion won. He walked toward her. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Eve didn't look at him. She only whispered, her voice thin and trembling. "Please, just make it fast." Daniel blinked. "Make what fast?" She closed her eyes, trying to steady her breathing. "Whatever lecture you're about to give. About how I deserve this. Everyone thinks I do." Daniel slowly sat across from her. "I'm not here to judge you. But you look like you're freezing." He took off his warm, worn-out jacket and placed it gently around her shoulders. Eve stiffened, shocked. No one had touched her with kindness in years. And at that moment, something inside her cracked. She broke down at silent, painful sobs shaking her body. For the first several minutes, Daniel said nothing. He let her cry. Finally, she whispered. "I ruined everything today, everything I spent my life building." Daniel leaned forward. "What happened?" She swallowed hard. "I fired a man who didn't deserve it. I let my temper, my pride, ruin his life. And then the board told me my behavior is damaging the company image. They said if I don't fix it, I'll lose my position." A tear slid down her cheek. "My entire life is that company." Daniel nodded slowly. "So you ran?" "I didn't know where else to go." She gave a weak, humorless laugh. "Funny, right? The woman everyone fears can't even fix her own life." Daniel's voice softened. "You don't need to fix everything tonight. Sometimes, you just need someone to sit with you until the storm passes." Eve stared at him. No one had ever spoken to her like that. No fear, no flattery, just simple human kindness. As the train rocked gently, Eve noticed how tired Daniel looked. "What about you?" she asked quietly. "Why are you out this late?" Daniel hesitated, but only for a second. Something about her vulnerability made him open up. "I'm a single dad," he said. "Lily, my daughter, she's 6. I work double shifts to take care of her. Tonight was supposed to be special. I promised her I'd be home early." His voice cracked. "But I couldn't make it." Eve stared at him, guilt washing over her. She had employees like him, parents who worked endlessly but never complained. She had never bothered to know their stories. "Does she know you're doing your best?" Eve whispered. "I hope so." He looked down. "But kids don't see sacrifice, they see absence." Something flickered in Eve's eyes, recognition. Because deep down, she understood that feeling too well. The train suddenly jolted to a stop between stations. Lights flickered. Passengers groaned. Daniel sighed. "Here we go again, another delay. That means I'll be even later." His shoulders slumped in defeat. Eve watched him. A man with nothing, no wealth, no status, had given her the only kindness she'd felt in years. She couldn't sit still. She stood up abruptly. "Where do you live?" "I'll get you home." Daniel blinked. "Ma'am, it's okay." No, her voice was firm but gentle. "You gave me warmth when you didn't have to. Let me help you." Daniel tried to protest, but Eve had already pulled out her backup phone, calling her personal driver. When the train finally reached the next station, a luxury car was waiting for them. Daniel stepped inside reluctantly, still surprised. Eve smiled faintly. "Consider it a thank you." Daniel woke up the next morning thinking the whole thing had been a dream until he opened the door and found Eve standing there, holding a bouquet of flowers and a small teddy bear for Lily. But that wasn't all. Eve apologized on camera to the employee she had fired. Publicly. And she invited Daniel to watch her speech live. Her voice cracked with sincerity as she spoke. "For years, I built walls around myself. I thought strength meant being untouchable. Last night, someone reminded me that real strength is kindness." Her eyes shifted to Daniel, who stood behind the cameras. "And that person was a single father who had every reason to walk past me, but didn't." Eve reinstated the employee. She announced new policies for parents at her company. She even created a fund for single parents who struggled with childcare. But the most unexpected change? She visited Daniel and Lily again the next day. And the next. And the next. Lily adored her. Daniel began to see a side of Eve no one else had: gentle, soft, human. Weeks passed, and something unspoken grew between Daniel and Eve. Respect. Warmth. Something neither dared to name yet. One evening, Daniel looked at her as Lily slept between them on the couch. "You know," he said softly, "you didn't have to do all this." Eve smiled a real smile, the kind she didn't show the world. "You took off your jacket for me," she whispered. "And that changed everything." Daniel took her hand gently. "Maybe we can change things together." Eve's eyes glistened. And for the first time in years, she felt hope. Not as a CEO. Not as a billionaire. But as a woman who finally found someone who saw through the armor. Someone who showed her that kindness could rewrite an entire life.